Of police helicopter cover-ups for October 30th. I was talking about the spotlight. So they started using the spotlight out at Jeronimo Cordillera and closer to Geronimo Alicia intersection, and they turned the spotlight on, but they were projecting that they were searching for someone. They weren't actually like moving it around methodically as if they were searching for someone. They were projecting it. They were like spastically like shooting it all over the place. It made no sense. They weren't looking for anyone. Sometimes it was right, sometimes it was left, and it was moving the whole time because they're projecting that they're looking instead of holding it still and moving around. And they've done that many times. They tried to when I was near the Salado Oliveira once, and they were flying up the park, and they wanted to, this crazy psycho who got stuck on the house on October 16th when he was within the same mindset, they started projecting that in the park too, and they just spastically just shook it all around, and they're pointing all over the place. And I was like, dude, you're pretending to be looking for something because it makes no sense. And they also did that at the 11 p.m. night when they let me out. So that right there, if anyone saw that, they'd be like, oh, well, they weren't really searching for something. And also I looked on the police blogger, and they uploaded some of the, like, all the posts for today, and there weren't any events there. There was some kind of theft down on Alicia near the freeway, and there was another event at like Chibuco Los Alisos, but there was nothing there. So they didn't post it on the police blogger, just like they didn't post October 16th because there was no call. And so also the October 16th event, they didn't post on the police blogger, and then I figured out by what they were doing that they were blaming it or saying that it was a Cessna, and then I figured out that they fabricated evidence because of the way they were changing the police helicopter lights. So they also didn't post that on the blogger, and then so I think 2 days later there was a fake robbery, and this should be audited. They should go find the people and find out how much they were paid, because someone supposedly was robbed on Oliveira, and then for the 2 nights before that there was possibly, I think they posted something like suspicious person on Deseo or something. So their new excuse, I think, is that they had to use the plane. And so I think this part is significant because the helicopter was there as if they were searching for someone, and then he left, and then the plane came and flew around in all of the same area. So let me continue with the storyline, and then I'll come back to the concept of it. So when he did all the ascensions and he was flying different and he was incorporating all of the compartmentalized parts a little bit more smoothly, he left beyond Geronimo and Alicia intersection, flying straight out towards Geronimo and Los Alisos intersection, and he probably did more cover-ups of there because I've recorded him go down there to Heroes Park and also out over 24 Hour Fitness on Los Alisos and Acero. And so he and also when he left at 2:54, it sounded like there was a second helicopter behind the 2-story house. Like, I'm pretty sure there was, but I didn't have a visual on it. And then at 3:05, the Cessna was flying in the search spot. And so I think this is significant because I believe that they falsified evidence and said that there was a Cessna flying around on the house on October 16th, which is disgusting. And so they didn't post it on the police blogger, and I think their reasoning is like, oh, well, we wanted it to be like a secretive lookout, because if you flew a helicopter around, the bad guy would know you were there, and then you couldn't see him or catch him. And so it was odd because the police helicopter seemed like he was intent on finding someone with the spotlight, but then he left, and then the Cessna came out and flew in the same spot. So I was thinking, oh, well, maybe their excuse is to combine it with October 16th and to say that then the Cessna had to come out and search because it's more quiet and less conspicuous. But then the Cessna did certain things that kind of blew that out of the water. It flew all around for 15, 20, or 30 minutes, and it did crazy things. Like, at one point, and he left the search area, too. That's one thing. And then also, like I said before, they just fly over a point of interest, not of interest, of an event location that they need to cover up. So the Cessna flew over the house, the October 16th house, 3 houses down, just once. And then he did circles another time, and then he did circles above it in the misty clouds another time, snuck up when I wasn't there. So I mean, Cessnas do crazy stuff like that all the time, and I can't account for all of them, but now I have to account for a Cessna who is now a police helicopter. And so he flew over the house once, and he flew in the police helicopter lines as if he's a copter, And so that's the most difficult thing to account for. But he flew over that house at the October 16th one. And he also was doing ascension and descension cover-ups in the hill cover-up and the two-story house as a landmark ascension descension cover-up. And he also went down to Geronimo Alicia intersection, and he did an ascension over the medical building that the police helicopter tried to lead me behind on the K9 unit day when they tried to arrest me at Geronimo Alicia intersection for being the fake suspicious person that they were looking for. So the point of that is that the Cessna was, he flew over some significant points, and then that they work out from that saying that he's allowed to then fly around in circles or do anything else as long as it's on that point of his routine. But he also flew way out away from the search spot, so I thought it was a search event. And then it's not posted on the blogger, and then he left and spread out and just went and started covering all of the police helicopter fake routine lines. And then at 7:50, I had heard the helicopter for about 20 minutes, and I couldn't find it. I kept putting my phone down and looking around, and I couldn't find it. But it was kind of faint, so I think what they were doing is that they were throwing sound and doing Cessna cover-ups, because I heard a Cessna putting around closer to me, but I couldn't find one with the lights because it had become misty. And so I think they were doing what they did on October 17th and 18th, where they had the helicopters out of rounds because all they care about is whatever my videos produce, which is nothing. So they had the helicopters throw sound, and then they had the Cessnas doing the circles on the certain points of interest. And so then I heard him and saw the helicopter, and he was flying down the park towards Geronimo Monte, and he had flashing lights. He had like white lights, and then I heard a second copter behind my house, out behind, like up on Montevideo in the park. And at 8:23, he came left to right in the copter pocket across the street, and he ascended and made a right, and he kind of curved up behind the two-story house and crossed over close to 24092, but kind of straight over the street. And then he changed his lights when he was behind the house. So when he was flying up, he had white lights and then two white lights at the back with a little red one in the middle. And then once he came out from behind the house, the red one was turned off and the lights were different. And the little the white mixed with the red was to make it like, oh, it's orange. But it wasn't, and it wasn't like that before. Any of the other nights, it wasn't the same as it was tonight. And so then he went up to Coronel, and he did more smoother cover-ups, incorporating all the different parts. And I was talking crap trying to get him to come back, and I also ran halfway down the street. So he did a U-turn on Coronel and was coming back towards me. And he also had Cessnas flying around him. So when he did the light change, there were Cessnas there so they could say, oh, look, it's mixed up. And then he started coming back, and then he kind of wanted to play cat and mouse with me, and they had the Cessna at the end of the street, the fake police one, and he was trying to